Okay.
YouTube famous.
Doing wonders for my social media career, this whole
Oh, yeah.
pandemic.
Yeah, you've been killing it.
Not really.
All right, minutes. Agenda. All right. I lost the agenda. Sometimes I don't know what this laptop does.
I've never done Zoom on this computer before. Can y'all hear me?
Yes, you're good.
Okay.
What?
Nice.
Sorry. There's got to be one smart ass in the group.
Yeah,
All right.
this group, it's more than one.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. So, all right. I hope everybody's doing well. We have some updates on some members and stuff. We'll get into that in a little bit. But I wanted to open up our meeting, which we haven't had in a long time. And I want to thank Jamel and Jamie for pulling pretty much the agenda and everything together, as you guys always do. So thanks again for everything you guys do. And it's nice to see everybody, even though it's virtually, but it's better than not seeing everybody. So I'm calling the meeting to order, and I guess the first thing we need to do is, has everybody take a chance or have had a chance to review the minutes from our last meeting, which was in April, believe it or not? And we need to approve those minutes. So,
So moved.
all
Second.
right. Any
Second.
discussion or anything? Minutes are that good. All right. All in favor. All right. I think that's unanimous. And the same thing for tonight's agenda. We need to approve the agenda, which is a great looking agenda.
So
One of the best looking agendas there'll ever be. Sorry. I'll stop.
You've missed us, haven't you?
Do I have a second on that?
Second.
All right. All in favor of approving the agenda? Great. All right. Old business. Jamie, you want to start with high water marks? You want me to start with high water marks?
I can tell you what I know, and then you can tell me what you know if you want.
Let's do that. Let's do it that way. That'd be more fun.
You probably know more than I do. So we continue to meet over the summer, the Silver Jackets group and the municipalities who are participating in the high water marks. So just for a quick recap, we are working on reestablishing the high water marks from the historic flood blizzard of '78. And so the Army Corps of Engineers and their folks, surveyors, have been out to survey those the marks from that flood, and we continue to work on signage to put on at those locations. So we've identified 4 locations in Scarborough, at Higgins, Pine Point Co-op, Eastern Trail, and where's the other one, Pete? Do you remember? Or are there only 3?
I thought there was one down at
Ferry Western
yeah,
Ferry Beach.
yeah.
Yes. I knew I would forget one. So if you remember way back when, probably almost a year ago now, since things have been crazy, I showed you a draft sign. I could never get in touch with the person who had the historic photo on that sign. And so we had to kind of switch gears and change the photo on the sign. I think I can share my screen and show you all what it looks like now, if you want to take a look at it. Just a sec, and I'll figure this out. Maybe. So instead, we now have a picture of the clam bake flooding, which is still a pretty iconic image for the town of Scarborough. So this was taken in March of 2019 during heavy rain and a high tide. So we've
Hey,
got
Jamie, is the clam bake okay with us using an image of them for this? Or do
the,
we need to necessarily check for that?
I wasn't sure if we needed to check for that since it's taken from a public way and
Yeah.
and all of that.
Because it looks like it's actually, well, I guess the parking lot is public.
It's fair use if it's in the shot and it's not being used to promote a product.
Okay, I just
So
want
it
to make
shouldn't
sure.
be a problem.
I don't know how sensitive they are to the fact that they flood all the time.
Oh, well.
It's kind of reality.
I mean,
Yeah, right.
it's gotten better ever since the drainage ditches, but I mean, that works. That works, I guess. It's just a bummer that we couldn't get.
Why can't we use the other one?
It wasn't ours. So this is a picture that Public Works had taken. The other one was a historic photo that a private citizen had taken. And I had reached out to him a couple times in a couple different ways. And Pete had reached out at one point for something separate. And I think you were able to connect with him, right, Pete?
Yeah, on Facebook chat or Facebook, whatever, Messenger.
Mhm.
But it was a long time ago.
Yeah, so I just he never responded to any of my attempts to contact him.
Do you have it? Can we see it?
Yep. Let me see.
I don't even know how long ago that was. Let's see if I can find it. I probably deleted it too, knowing me.
Can you see that?
Yeah.
All right, let
Come
me
on.
zoom out.
Come on. The clam bake picture pales in comparison to that picture. Like when I look at like if we're trying to make an impact here, right? The clam bake picture looks like a big old puddle. That looks like a disaster in the making, right?
And it is. That hotel fell down.
I think we need. Well, if you want, I can try too. But if we want to make a statement with this, which I'm hoping we are, that's what we need to put on there. Otherwise, it's just like, it's a puddle, big deal.
What was the gentleman's name again?
Ralph Pride.
And he's a townie?
I think he lives in Cape. When I last Googled him, I think that his address was Cape Elizabeth.
Yeah, there he is. Lives in Portland, Maine now.
Okay.
And we could credit him on it as well if you wanted as payment.
Oh, totally. Also,
Like,
I'll
that's
drop
for real.
I'll drop him another message on. Did you try Facebook Messenger with him, Jamie?
I can try.
It might be more official coming from you, but I'm happy to try again. I can't find the message that I had with him, but it all came out because I'm friends with a friend of theirs, and he posted a picture of the 78 storm in February of last year on his Facebook page, and they shared it, and that's the only reason I saw it. And then,
So if he took that picture in 78, then he's probably got a good, 10 years on me. So he's probably 60 something, right? Well, why? I'm not sure why he wouldn't want to let us use the photo.
we never asked him.
Well,
Okay,
I've tried, but he hasn't
Right.
responded.
Well, I'm of the opinion that not that it has that much weight anymore. But if we're trying to make something happen here, and also when people see those old sort of like patina, like black and
It's more
white kind of
eye-catching.
photos, it's more authentic, and people are like, oh yeah, I mean, like all downtown Biddeford, like the Museum of the Streets, right? It's all those old black and white, and it makes people stop and look. A color photo of the clam bake, people are gonna be like, meh, you know.
I
mean,
agree.
That's super dramatic right there.
Yeah, I agree. If there's any way we can use this, it's a lot better than the clam bake. And I suppose at some point it passes anyway into the public domain. Was it ever printed anyplace else?
Yeah, how did you find it?
It was posted on Facebook as a memory.
And you just like came across it?
I was friends with somebody who is friends or knows him, and they referenced his post. And then I think I sent the image to Jamie.
Well, maybe that's the way in then.
And said, hey, look at this image.
Anyways, my 2 cents on that one.
Well, I think, yeah, reach out to him, but at some point, I don't, it actually doesn't say that. Did it say that he took it or that he had it from someplace?
That's a good point.
He was credited.
We're getting
was-
into fair use
Yeah.
in public domain.
All right, I'm sending him a message.
And I'm emailing Sheila from Army Corps to say, don't have our signs printed.
Hey,
Can he be credited if we
Yes.
don't read?
oh, yeah,
He would be.
has to be.
Yeah.
Right. I don't think because it was only in 78 and he took the photo, and if he never had it printed or if it wasn't sold, then there's no public domain on it. It's his photo. He
Right.
has to give us permission directly to use it.
Right, I think that's the issue.
Yeah. But it's awesome. I don't know why you wouldn't want to have your photo plastered all over town. I would do it in a heartbeat.
Right. Right.
Can't find a,
You may ask for compensation and you just give him a card to the clam bake.
I must have deleted it. Anyway, we'll see what he says. I know I got through to him on Facebook, so.
Cool.
I agree. That'd be cool if we could get that on there.
It's for real. I mean,
You know-
I had no idea.
You know, Jamie, it's interesting. Nobody on the whole high watermarks ever pretty much just brought that up, that we really, really, really should be using that image as opposed to something else.
Hmm. Yeah, they don't really care. I mean, our signs are so much better than the other signs, and even without the historic photo. So I think they're already like, these are light years better than the ones we put up in York and Portland. So
Right.
I wonder if he didn't respond because he's a climate denier.
in my lots and lots of research that I was doing to try to find who this guy is, he's somehow connected with Cross Jewelers in Portland.
Huh.
So I don't know that that tells us anything, but just another little tidbit.
Well, Pete's on the case.
Yeah, I'm on the case. I should have messaged him earlier. I guess I didn't. I apologize.
I mean, they're not going up till next spring anyway, right?
Yeah, at this point, I'm just not sure how the grant funding, it was supposed to be wrapped up in December. So if they have to get the signs printed in December, I'm not sure. So I'm checking. I'm literally emailing the person right now. So
Cool.
Awesome. I don't have too much to add to that, except that, and I think everybody else knew this, but South Portland is doing something as well. In fact, Scarborough and South Portland signs are very, very close to being almost exactly the same. And then Belfast is doing signage that is different. But
have you seen their signs?
I have not. I have not. I just know they're wanting to do something different. And I think they wanted to go more extreme than everything we've built into the existing signs that you guys are using. They wanted to look all the way out to 2100. So I still don't know exactly what they're doing.
I'm surprised that a town like Augusta or Hallowell isn't doing it because they had some very severe flooding. They have had some very severe flooding with the river rise there in some of these big storms. I remember seeing the side of Slate's restaurant in Hallowell. It was over my head from the street. It was crazy.
Yeah, they had another Silver Jackets project actually occurred in Hallowell. It was so this program funds different projects. High Watermarks is one of them. And that one was more to look at how to make the downtown resilient to flooding. Not just because they already have not a staff somewhere with the flood levels on it.
Oh, they do?
Yeah, and so does Gardner. Right down by the water where the Cabascanti stream comes in.
In Gardner, yeah, the Cabo.
Yeah, they have a sign there with high watermark levels already. But it doesn't take into account climate change like these are. And it's not sea level. It's mostly freshwater driven flooding.
Right. I think the most important question here, though, is who got the silver jacket?
That's still not
Nobody.
clear.
Nobody. It sucks. We keep saying, hey, we need to have Silver Jackets funding just to create Silver Jackets so that the whole team can have it. And you've never seen the logo, have you?
I think he showed it to us at one meeting. It's pretty
I was
sweet.
gonna say, I can probably pull that up too.
Yeah, I
know
was gonna
it's at
say,
that.
if you can't,
Well, it's on the sign.
no, the real, like with the B and all that?
Yeah, it's there. Hold on.
Oh, it is?
I'm just gonna zoom in.
I mean, to derail the meeting, but I love me a good jacket.
Oh, Ben, I'm with you. It would be awesome. And he's rolling up his sleeve.
Oh man, what?
Oh, yeah, he's
Like
great.
a CB kind of logo?
Oh, do you have it, Jamie? Otherwise, I
Yep.
have it right here. Yeah,
What?
there we go.
Oh my
Yeah.
god, that is so cool.
Yeah, so my one complaint about this program is I've been unable to get jackets
The one complaint.
for the team.
Everything else is great. Just
Anyway,
the lack of jackets.
It'll make a
Yeah.
great hat. It'd
It
be
gets
Well,
cold in Maine.
they've actually complained about it too, because they're like, we really should have, because there is a Silver Jackets team in each state.
Huh.
Teams
Anyway.
need uniforms. Come on.
That's right.
Anyway,
All right. So Pete, you'll try to get one more try to get a hold of Ralph. And if
Yeah.
it would be helpful, I can send you the mock-up of the sign. So you can,
yeah, I was gonna say he might want to know what it looks like,
Mhm.
so
I'll send that to you tonight.
thanks.
All right. So do you want to move on to new business?
Yes, please.
All
Let's
right.
do it.
So committee consolidation, Tom Hall reached out maybe 2 months ago now to talk about, I guess the town council is interested in reducing the number of committees that we have in town. And so there is discussion about combining this group with the Pest Management Advisory Council Committee, excuse me, the PMAC. So PMAC was established when the town passed their organics policy for town lands, and they basically oversee the implementation of that policy. Chuck was our representative on the PMAC up until recently, and now it's Susan Nixon. And so it just seems that that the two can align pretty well. Recently, the PMAC has started kind of branching out into looking at other things like invasives and promoting the use of natives and things like that. So it seems like I know a lot of conservation commissions and other municipalities are dealing with invasives and native plants and things like that. So might be something that this group wants to consider. I'm not sure how the process is going to go. I haven't heard back from Tom as far as if the council is going to move forward with that. But just thought we should have a discussion with this group about what that might look like and what kind of opportunities may exist if people have concerns about anything. So we can open the floor and talk about that, or if you have any questions about what that might look like.
Will it be one larger committee comprised of the people from both, or perhaps streamlined a bit?
So conservation commissions are set up through state statute, and there are specific requirements for membership numbers. But our committee charge does allow kind of alternate members to be part of the group for an undetermined amount of time. And also we do have a few openings currently, so it may make sense to have some of the PMAC members fill some of the more permanent spots or regular conservation commission spots. Actually, where we do have openings, it kind of makes sense at this point, in my opinion, to think about that for consolidation and committee membership, since we'll have potentially have new members coming in from that group. But that so that group there, it was pretty prescriptive as to who serves on PMAC. There were representatives from kind of industry experts, so lawn care practitioners and or an agronomist or someone with their pest applicator license and things like that. So I think those are all things that that Tom and the council may need to figure out how they want to satisfy the PMAC, how the PMAC is structured. They don't have a specific charge, but it was set up as part of the pest or the pesticide policy for what the makeup of the PMAC would be.
Yeah, that
Town-
was my main,
town gra- Go ahead.
I was just gonna say that was one of my main concerns, which was to make sure that but just, you know, like exactly like what was just said in terms of how does PMAC fit into it? How does it keep itself as a, you know, as a committee while we're a commission? Even though we're, you know, by Maine law supposed to be part of this, that's a town committee. And how do we make sure that the right membership stays on PMAC if it gets swept into the commission? Sorry, go ahead, Chuck.
I was going to say town groundskeeping was very well represented on the PMAC committee too, or is. And most of the work they've been doing has been on town land, virtually all of it.
Well, yeah, the policy only applies to town land. So that's kind of their purview.
So is there even a choice here, or is Tom Hall saying you got to do it?
I'm not sure what the process looks like. I think it really is the council. This was a council directive to look at the committees, look at really the active committees, and figure out a way to kind of pare those down. And if there was an opportunity to consolidate committees with comparable or complementary missions, then Tom asked staff to take a look at that.
You see this? I'm sorry, go ahead, Rachel.
Yeah, thank you. First of all, I think the town council is responsible for making the appointments. So they would have actually the responsibility for deciding if it was going to consolidate who would come over into the Conservation Commission as members. It would make sense that some people from PMAC would come over with that experience. I think one thing to think about is kind of how we as a commission might want to ensure that we still get the skills and the knowledge of PMAC if it's going to come over. And it could be that we could make as part of our annual agenda 2 meetings that are geared around the issues of PMAC. In other words, and that those people who didn't move over as members actually are part of a sort of an advisory group to us, individuals providing us resources and advice. I mean, I think something like that can be worked out in a way that we maintain ourselves as a commission, adding the skills of PMAC, but yet find a way to ensure that what they were originally formed for is dealt with, that we honor that and find a way to integrate it, at least informally, into some of the work that we do. And that might satisfy those folks from the community, like somebody who has that license, somebody from I don't know, whether it be somebody from building and grounds in the town or whatever it might be. I think it's possible. I think it just needs to have some thought put into it.
And I will say, I've been involved in PMAC for probably just after I started in the town, and they meet every other month, and lately their meetings have not been very well attended by folks who are kind of in the industry. I think that the timing of their meetings can be difficult sometimes. They do meet kind of in the middle of the day. So if you are a working person, work in the field, you know, as is dictated by the policy, then they have a hard time making it to the meetings. But so it's definitely things to think about. It does tend to be the three or four kind of more citizen people on the committee that are there regularly. And that would be their two chairs, Marla Zando and Rita Britton, and Terry Eddy, and then Susan Nixon. And those are kind of the four who are at the PMAC meetings on a regular basis. And then it's staffed by Todd Souza, who's the Director of Community Services. And when Todd Jepson from the school department is able to, he attends the meetings as well. And so I think there's only been the industry professionals at one or two meetings since I've been attending.
Yeah, I think it is a pretty good fit considering a Conservation Commission member already serves on PMAC, number one. I would just want to make sure that, I guess if PMAC continues, which it probably will, I personally have an interest in taking what PMAC does and PMAC stands for. And it's very, very little impact doing that on just town properties. So from a Conservation Commission standpoint, I see what could happen with PMAC in the future. It would be a challenge. It would be a big challenge given how people in our town like their lawns. But it could really be a good venue for moving forward with, being a lot cleaner and using less pesticides on our lawns in town, and could potentially lead to, it could do this individually also, but having it under the commission standpoint, it fits a lot more with the goal of having, I'll just say it, a much less pesticide rich treatments, and actually maybe even a ban on pesticides for private use even. We can dream, but
Susan's totally geared up for that. She talks a lot about the pesticides they use down at the home there. So, she's very keyed into private use of it and institutional use of it as well. So it makes sense.
Yes.
Right. And I know a couple of the people that are on the committee. I think, their goals might be to actually make it larger than it is too. And I don't want to speak for all the people that are on the committee, but a couple folks on the committee. So
having been on it, I would say that it's pretty clearly acknowledged that the focus on town lands only is very low impact and inconsequential, and that where they would prefer to do bigger things. Yeah.
So from that standpoint, I see it as a good fit.
Yeah.
But we want to make sure that members are also interested in other things, just like not just PMAC. You know what I mean? Like that if PMAC becomes a subset of what the Conservation Commission does, I guess we could have a member that's just PMAC or several members that are just PMAC. But if those folks have nothing else to contribute for the commission, I don't know if that's a good mesh then. But if those folks are interested in what the commission does outside of just PMAC, I think it's a good fit. I don't know how that breaks down administratively, Jamie and Jamel, but I wouldn't want to have just somebody who's on it just for it would have to be more than one person. So, just for PMAC, but not have any interest in anything else that we're doing.
Mm-hmm. I think knowing the three women that I mentioned who are the most active in PMAC, with the exception of Susan, since she's already on Conservation Commission, I would say it's my impression, and I don't know this for sure, but it's my impression that they would be interested in other things that we are doing. I think they are pretty conservation minded, and their passion lies with native plants and healthy growing conditions for plants and reducing pesticides and things like that. But I think that they would be interested in other elements of conservation as well.
That's great insight. So Ben, you're giving me that, like, I'm not sure about this. Look,
No, I was just thinking, well, your comment, same goes back the other way. I mean, we don't want to just absorb the committee and then do nothing with it. You know what I mean? Like, we
You're
don't want to have a board of people who could care less about PMAC. You know,
good point.
right?
Good point.
So it's it goes both ways. I think it has to be, otherwise it's just basically like a buyout. Like, we're absorbing you and we don't care. So it has to, like, a reasonable amount of effort has to be given by the Conservation Commission to address the PMAC issues. But on the same hand, the PMAC people have to be ready and aware to address, if the picture is correct for the signs, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, but they have to attend 2 meetings that those people would, right? Those people who cross over, as Pete was describing.
Right.
So would it be sort of a subcommittee of the Conservation Commission? Will the Conservation Commission have less time to do its the work that it chooses to do, because meetings will be taken up by PMAC issues?
That's a good question.
In my mind, PMAC issues would be built into Conservation Commission agendas. Like I said, they currently are only meeting every other month. So it may be that the meetings are structured such that, 1 month it's dedicated to PMAC or more PMAC heavy. And then the next month it's more Conservation Commission heavy. But I think that a lot of the things that they talk about in PMAC are definitely applicable to Conservation Commission. They want to, inventory our lands and understand where our invasive issues are. And they want to do pilot projects to get rid of invasive plants without pesticides and things like that. All things that would be relevant to this group as well.
Well, I mean, I guess Chuck's point is valid, though, to a degree. Like, it bringing in another commission, what percentage does that increase the amount of work on a monthly basis that needs to be done in the time of the meeting? It certainly will allow for less time for joking around. So.
Maybe that's good.
That does need to be considered.
But it's a point well taken, I think, Chuck. I mean, I'm sure it's issue driven. If there's a big PMAC thing, then that has to be dealt with before other things get dealt with and that sort of thing. So
I think it's inevitable. I think it's inevitable within the next 10 years, PMAC issues are going to be really big everywhere.
Yeah.
And, so it may be the main focus of the Conservation Commission at some point.
Well, with only a meeting every other month, I can't imagine that they have a tidal wave of stuff that they would be dumping on the commission. So
They would perhaps get more clout being part of the Conservation Commission.
I would assume that once there's some sort of a merger with the Conservation Commission, that opens up their opportunities a lot more.
Yeah.
And our challenge would be to find those places where they want to open up opportunities, and that coincides with what our mission is and what we want to do. And all of this is doable, and actually this is the wrong place really to delve into it too much, because we don't know what the town council might want to say and how it might want to merge. But I would suggest, just in terms of our thinking, we have a lot of impaired streams that we've been involved with, and if we want to take a look at invasives and impaired streams, that starts to merge our work and their work, and our challenge would be to find that merger. But ultimately, I think what happens, and what is going to happen, is PMAC kind of disappears, although all of their work does not. Basically, their work does not, but it gets much better integrated into the whole conservation movement.
Yeah, I think that's well said.
So you don't need a vote for us right now or anything like that, right?
No,
this is just discussion point.
Yeah, exactly. And kind of a heads up, good to get some good feedback from you all, and I can share that with Tom and check in with him also on where things stand. I'm sure they were waiting to get through the election to see who will be on the town council before they make any of those decisions. So now they know that. So we'll see how the process progresses.
Awesome. Anything else on that?
Nope, not that I have.
Cool. So I think we're moving to updates next. And we're literally right on schedule.
Right? It's amazing. I think it's the first time ever.
Yeah.
Work.
Hang on, I could bring you some kind of outside conversation into this.
Snack time? You can go get some pretzels.
So we don't have our council rep. So unless you guys have an update from staff on what's going on with town council, we can move past that to planning board updates.
Yeah,
Excuse me for a minute.
We don't know who's going to be our liaison.
what?
Good time.
I don't know who is going to be our liaison. I assume it will still be Councillor Clucci, but I don't know for sure.
Right, planning board. The planning board did a site walk in the Downs. And that site walk included the Millbrook area because the latest thing going on at the Downs is something that we passed is the connection between Higas Parkway and the Center Street, which is going to be basically the main drag along with the Scarborough Downs Road. And that's going to need crossing the Millbrook stream. And the Risbara folks have got a complete plan on that. The buffer is going to be extensive. There will also be some trails that are open to the public. I think they're 10-foot wide trails, actually, that's going to enable people to really take a long jaunt. Pretty much the length of Millbrook. There are a fair amount of that. There's an impoundment there that's going to be eliminated. The culvert's going to be replaced. Jamel, what else is going to go on to Millbrook? Trying to think.
I think you explained it pretty well. I think it appears that they're actually going to, let's see, what's the word I'm looking for? Improve the conditions of the stream based on the existing impoundment that you were speaking about. They're going to the stream will be able to flow in a better way than it is now.
So
Do we know what kind of culvert they're going to use?
it's a new culvert. I don't know what kind it is, but it's they are
open
putting in a
bottom.
complete new. What'd you say,
Good.
Jamel?
It's an open bottom. Sorry to interrupt.
No, that's okay.
That's what I wanted to hear. Thanks.
Mhm.
Yeah, so, what some of the amenities might be so that folks can walk down the street. There will be sidewalks down to the bridge, crossing the stream, so people can walk along and see that area. But the Risbara folks, the Scarborough Downs folks have really outlined an extensive series of trails and public space and conserved lands. So it's going along, I think, in a good direction. What they promised us a couple of years ago, they're coming through with. The stream has always been a little dicey, how that fits into some of the construction, but folks have been on top of that, and we've got some confidence that the project is going to work very well and actually improve the whole stream area. We've got one conservation subdivision coming up, and we are seeing more. When we see now conservation subdivisions, the land is more and more difficult. And it's tougher and tougher to site houses on it because there's just not a lot of prime land left for developments. So we'll see how this one goes and others that come before us, but just know that it's harder and harder to find developable areas that can be there for the conservation areas stuff. Developers are still trying, but they're having to get more and more creative in terms of how they're developing that land. That's it.
Thanks, Rachel. That's a good update.
I could just jump in. It was an extremely busy year for the planning board. Many projects are coming online, and seems to be a little bit of a lull now during the holidays, but planning board spent many late nights on Zoom. So it's been an interesting year, to say the least.
I got one coming in over near me off the Winnick's Neck Road over here. 4 houses punched into that Charlie Weber's land over there. They had to put in something over there for the water. They put in some kind of overflow or catch or something like that. It was kind of interesting to see them do it. I assume you get involved with that, but I don't know.
Speaking of streams and culverts and improving streams, Jamie, do you remember, was it the Nonsuch River that was going to have a restoration project behind Public Works?
It's Phillips Brook
Phillips
in
Brook.
by the old Public Works
Yeah.
laydown yard.
Do we know if that's happening this spring? Are they going to be doing that work?
We should be doing it. Yep. We'll get bid documents out for construction or late winter, early spring. Sooner the better, and hopefully we'll be able to afford it since construction prices have gone up. That was funded through a grant from DEP, and we were supposed to be done this year, but then the world went crazy, and so everything got postponed. We got an extension through the end of 2021 to get that done. So restoration is scheduled to begin in the spring. Public Works will do some of the prep work. Then we'll bring in a private contractor to do some of the in-stream work, and that was part of the presentation that from our meeting back in April. And then it should hopefully be wrapped up by late summer, early fall, if everything goes according to plan. So we'll see how much 2020 spills over into 2021 to see if we can make that happen.
Okay, thanks.
Mhm.
Comp Plan Sustainability Committee.
Yeah, Jamel, do you want to say anything about the comp plan? You've been more involved in long-range planning and whatnot than I have.
Sure. So the Long Range Planning Committee hosted 3 online public forums to try and get some more feedback in the draft comprehensive plan. I think that was in late November, early December. There's some really good participation. And staff's been incorporating some of that feedback into the plan, and the Long Range Planning Committee's working right now to incorporate all of the public feedback into the draft to send the plan out of committee and into the hands of the town council, which should occur before Christmas or early in the new year. And then the town council will do their process with reviewing and hopefully adopting the plan in early 2021. That's the update.
It's been a long process.
It has, yeah, I would say longer than we wanted it to be. And the draft that we received from the consultant was wasn't as good as we were hoping. So there was a lot of rewriting, and we were ready to start the public feedback portion of the plan in mid-March, and then everyone knows what happened there, and just sort of restarting it about a month or 2 ago. So it's had a few pauses for sure.
But you only have to do it once every 10 years.
The process may take 10 years by the time it's finished.
It's taken 3 years, hasn't it?
Yes.
Yep. Started in 17, I believe. So
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember going to some of those first few meetings.
yep, it started just before I started with the town. So it feels like forever ago for me, at least. So we're excited to hopefully get it adopted soon. start implementing it.
And in that vein, that goes into Sustainability Committee. Sustainability Committee is writing a letter to the town council in support of the comprehensive plan. There has been some discussion among the town council from what our liaison has said that some people are just not happy with the comprehensive plan, some councilors, and some are proposing that it be scrapped and start over. And so I don't think that that's realistic. I don't think that's actually going to happen. But the Sustainability Committee thought it would be helpful because they were actually quite pleased with the document and kind of the thread of sustainability that is woven throughout the entire document, and a lot of the specific recommendations about updating ordinances and things like that. So I'm hoping that the bulk of the plan stays as it's written. So they're in the process of drafting a letter of support to the town council and are hoping to send that to them this week. The other big thing that they're working on is a large scale solar ordinance to allow grid tied solar on private property in Scarborough. So currently our ordinance doesn't allow for solar farms. We do have one coming in on Eco Maine property, and that was allowed under municipal use since the town is owner member of Eco Maine. But any of our private landowners who have large tracts of land, as of right now, they can't develop solar on their property. So working on coming up with an ordinance for that. It would be something I would think that the Conservation Commission would be interested in, because, you know, converting farmland to a solar farm is less impactful on a lot of our natural resources than converting it into house lots and subdivisions. So something to be aware of, and we can keep you updated on the process there.
Jamie, that reminded me of something. The planning board passed an apartment complex in the Downs that has EV stations as part of the parking, and a condo project where it has garages, and all the garages have the conduits for somebody who owns them, who might want to set up a charging station within their garage. So there's a lot of that starting to go on now over at the Downs.
That is awesome, and I think that is the Sustainability Committee has met with the folks from the Downs on a number of occasions, and those were some of the strong recommendations that were made, especially at least, you know, building the houses and condos so that should someone want to install solar on their own or have an EV charging station in their garage, that it's already set up for that, so that they don't have to go back and retrofit their brand new home. So it's awesome to hear that that those steps are being taken in the Downs.
Yeah, the gables at the Down, the condos have the in the garage conduits, and the Hayloft apartments have got the charging stations that actually will be available for anybody who comes through.
That's good to hear. And so that ties in also with the other kind of bit of conservation and sustainability, which is Maine Won't Wait, the climate action plan that was just released. So there are going to be many opportunities for municipalities to take advantage of opportunities related to recommendations in that plan. So there will be funding and technical assistance available for planning and infrastructure upgrades and things like that. So I think that this group is only going to start getting busier as those opportunities become more available and more known.
Jamie, could you highlight the major concerns that certain town councilors had with the comprehensive plan? You said a few of them wanted it scrapped, so they seem to have a pretty strong opinion about it.
Yeah, Jamel, you can jump in with this too, but it's my understanding that our updated plan looks very different from our old plan, which was done back in 2006. And I think it's just the change. The old plan was written in such a way to get the town to update ordinances. And now that a lot of that work has been done, there are other needs in the town. So the format and structure of the plan is pretty different. And I think that has given some counselors some pause. There's been some question as to what the public process looked like to develop this plan. I think there's a perception that it was a very staff heavy process but I think staff have shown that over the course of the 3 years, there's been a lot of opportunity for public input into the process. And I think they've shown that public input really drove what the plan looks like now. So I think it's just making people comfortable with kind of where it started and where it is now, and what the process will be in the future once we go to implement the new comprehensive plan.
So you're saying there aren't any big issues about content in the plan?
I haven't heard any big issues about content, and Jamel, maybe you have heard otherwise. I think it's more of a process issue or concern, I should say. And again, this plan looks very different from our previous plan, and it looks pretty different from other comprehensive plans from around the state. And I think it's a lot of the comprehensive plans are a requirement to get certain funding and be eligible for certain state programs. And so, a lot of municipalities just kind of do a cookie cutter plan and a stripped down planning process just to get a new plan that meets the minimum requirements. And Scarborough took a different tact and tried to make a plan that wouldn't just sit on a shelf, that would be implemented. And it looks different. And so it's hard for sometimes to kind of be progressive or be different and do something different from what everyone else is doing. So I think that there are questions surrounding that as well.
Yeah, I will just add that the council had a workshop last Wednesday, I believe, or Thursday. That's recorded on YouTube, and that I know they discussed at length the comp plan. If you want to look into that, Chuck, there's to give you some more information about their concerns. Otherwise, I think Jamie explained it well.
Just as an aside, I think some of the pressure is coming from growth and the questions of growth. Scarborough has now more than 19,000 voters. And once the census is done, I would suspect we're going to be between around 22,000 to 23,000 residents. And people, I think, are looking at some point for assurances that what's going on in terms of some of the changes that are going on in the town with growth, and it's just that people are thinking about it and that it's being managed appropriately. We're in for some rapid changes. Scarborough is a much larger town than it was 5 years ago or 10 years ago. And people have to, it's tough for people sometimes who expect one thing to accept something else going on. And I think Jamie's right in terms of part of the comp plan is it looks different because also we're a different town than we were when the last comp plan was developed. So there's some pains, there's some growing pains, but it's nothing that we can't as a town handle.
I think that's a really good point. There's a lot going on, but hopefully we can handle it all.
Well, and just simply to say it's commissions like us and committees like us that help that growth and help the pinch places be handled.
Anything else, folks, on that note? Great. So it looks like our next meeting is January 11th. Does the 6 PM time slot work okay with everybody? And Ben, we won't be seeing you after today.
My last one. I'm rotating
You know,
out.
I just checked the website. Chuck and I were done in 2019.
I'm pretty sure you re-upped.
I re-upped.
It just hasn't been updated.
Pete, I'm sure you were re-upped, whether you,
Whether you wanted to or not.
You're drafted.
we don't
were
call, we don't
voluntold
call
that
it
you were
that.
going
We
to
don't call it that.
No, I re-upped. Well, I want to say, Ben, thanks for, I don't know how many years it's been, but
Yeah, thank you,
Been on
Ben.
three terms, I think. So 9 years. So I think. But no, it's been really great. And the only reason I'm doing it is because this year, as true with everybody, I think, has really exposed some real cracks in your worlds. And so I got to really sort of concentrate on fixing those before I can dedicate any time to doing anything else. So it's unfortunate, but that's the decision that had to be made. So.
well, it's good reason. Besides, I don't like you guys or something like that.
Yeah, right. I'm so tired of. So I will say this as it's not a parting shot, but I was just thinking about this. My
Uh-oh, turn the recording off.
No, right?
no,
Just tell me when.
the one thing that I've always thought about this committee that I wish was something that could actually maybe change in the future, I hope, is that in comparison to conservation commissions that I'm familiar with in other states, we have very little teeth. And we can't really do a whole lot. We consult and we talk and we recommend, but we don't have a lot of oomph. And so in the end, if we say something, it can be very easily ignored by whomever we're saying it to. And I just sort of wish that there was a little more power in this committee to really, truly affect change and protect this town, because as you mentioned, it's going to get crazy here very soon, and our impaired streams and our sea level rise and all of this is only going to feel the pressure of larger population. And so I know that there's comprehensive planning board and all that stuff, but I think it'd be really great to have a little more, even just a little bit, like being able to recommend fines for people who abuse the law, or to be more involved in the planning processes around some of these developments that are coming up, instead of just sort of getting updates on what everybody else is doing around it. And I think that would make me think twice and probably bring me back running, because my father's partner is involved in one out on the Cape, and they actually are like, they're almost as powerful as the town council down there, because it's out of control down there. Cape Cod, I mean, not Cape Elizabeth. And I just think that it would be a beneficial thing for this committee and for the town, quite honestly, to have a committee that could actually be boots on the ground a little bit more. And that is the only criticism I have. Otherwise, I've loved working with y'all. I've had some real fun times, and I hope that I have helped in some tiny way at least.
You have, and thank you.
Ben, good thoughts too. I mean, you know the history of the commission, so you upped just after we got our teeth pulled.
Oh, really? I
Well,
don't think I knew that.
No, maybe that was right when I joined. Right after I joined, right before I joined, we got our teeth pulled.
Really?
Yeah.
A lot of it is the difference in the way that they're set up. In Massachusetts, they're set up under state statute to have review authority and kind of serve as the planning board essentially.
Sure.
But in Maine, much less strong of a body.
Which is so funny, because given the natural way this state leans, I mean, we have a town that is just chock-a-block full of amazing, amazing things that need to be conserved, you know? And again, we have a very, very stringent planning board and they watch all that stuff, but still, you know, couldn't hurt to have a little more backup, a little more insight, you know, and especially with people like, well, all of you, but, you know, like Pete, who serves for the government doing all this stuff, you know, like the state government. Anyways, I don't want to complain about it because you know, I just think it's an interesting weirdness. Like the town is required to have this commission, but why? You know, so it's always sort of plagued me a little bit. But anyways, I love this town. I wouldn't live anywhere else. I'm constantly amazed by what we're doing with it, and I'm actually pretty excited to see what they're doing with the Downs. And you know, and while the Maine winters are starting to really wear on me, I don't plan on moving anytime soon out of this town in particular. So maybe I'll come back in a while. It's just in the short term I have to cope. So, but thank you guys for being awesome.
Thank you for being here.
And putting up
Thank
with
you,
me.
Ben.
Yeah.
We miss
thanks,
you.
Ben.
And we'll welcome you back anytime if you decide the time is right.
Well, now there's gonna be all these PMAC people on there. I don't know.
You're gonna miss the fun. You'll miss us.
Well, that's true. Well, that's the other thing. It's like,
It'll be lots of fun.
there's very serious PMAC people are coming on board. So
Yeah, they are serious. Yes.
I'll make sure they keep it fun. Otherwise, they're gone. All right, everyone. Thank you so much for your time. Stay safe and stay healthy. And we'll reconvene in a month.
Happy holidays all.
Sounds good.
Happy
Thank you all.
holidays.
Happy
Good night.
holidays.
Happy holidays.
Bye.
Great to see